Hi guys, Puff and Snuff here. Ian checking in once again from beautiful Northeast Ohio. It's a beautiful spring day out there, Sunday. Today is Mother's Day, so if you are or have a mother and are celebrating, happy Mother's Day to you and yours. For my part, I lost my mom about 12 years ago, so today is really not so much a day of celebration as it is just kind of a relaxing Sunday in spring. She passed away. I didn't like lose her behind the sofa or in the couch cushions or anything like that. Um, so I thought I would take the opportunity today to jump on and finally review my favorite snuff of all time. We are talking about Viking Dark. This is tinned by and I believe manufactured by Sam Gawith. It is identical. It is the same exact product as Snuff Store's Black Magic. So either one, we're talking about the same thing. I've heard that it's also the same as Sam Gawith's Silky Black, but I can't find that anywhere. I didn't see it on any of the usual retail sites. I didn't even see it listed on Sam Gawith's website, so I don't know if it's something that may have been discontinued and it's being sold exclusively under these other labels. I don't know. At any rate, if you find Silky Black or Silky Dark, something like that, Snuff Store Black Magic or Viking Dark, you're snuffing the same thing. I said in a previous video that Limoncello from Old Mill was my favorite scented stuff. That is still true. This is my favorite unscented natural snuff, and 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, my preference usually leads to the natural stuff, so that's why this kind of gets the nod. I will say that there is kind of a challenger to that throne right now. I found another natural snuff that is absolutely incredible, but I want to play around with it for a little while longer before I either review it and or allow it to unseat this little tin of magical goodness. Before I jump into the review, one little warning with this. You should know that I take, if you take the next 6 or 7 snuffs that I've had the most of in the last year and add them all up, it's probably equivalent of how much of this I've taken in the last year. So I take a lot of this. And one thing I've noticed is that if you take if you take it frequently throughout the day, or you take very large pinches, and you do that for several days or a week or more at a time, it does lend itself to whatever the snuff version of palate fatigue is. So palate fatigue, nasal fatigue, olfactory fatigue, whatever you want to call it. If you take a lot of it, you do start to kind of become almost immune to the scent, and it loses a lot of the aroma of what it's doing, and it becomes kind of flavorless. So when that happens, once I hit that point, all right, time to stick it back in the fridge, get everything cleaned out, maybe take something else, something a little lighter for a few days, and then come back to it, and the magic returns. So that's just a little warning for you. As for the snuff itself, in the tin, it is roasty. It is, if dark can be a smell, that's what this smells like. It's roasty, it's earthy, it's briny. It's a very deep, a very dark kind of aroma. Very much the opposite of an SP or a toast. In the tin, it's not, you read Viking Dark and you're picturing probably something almost black. It's not quite that. It's a dark brown, but it's definitely brown. It's certainly darker than, say, Thor's hammer, but not overwhelmingly dark. The grind is medium. I would say you can see different tobaccos in there, or perhaps it's just an inconsistent grind, but there's kind of a mixture of medium coarseness and a little bit of medium to coarse coarseness in there. It is moderate moisture. It does stick to the finger if you just kind of swirl it in. It does stick, but it doesn't leave any sort of a residue. So medium moisture, I would say. It is a little misleading. I will say I usually kind of do the nostril kink when I take this. It looks like it would take the way a lot of the Sam Gawith darker, fluffier tobaccos, the black coffee, the Grousemore, which the grind was the only thing that had going for it, or any of the plum, the fire dance, any of those. It's a little trickier than that because it is a little drier than those. So you don't want to insufflate too deep. You don't need to take as much care with it as you might a toast, but don't throw caution to the wind here, or you're going to end up with it behind your eyes, and you're going to kind of want to crawl under a rock and cry for a couple hours. So let's take a pinch. There is absolutely nothing bad about that. In the nose, it's an awful lot like it is in the tin. First thing, there is that nice, pleasant nicotine sting that sets in right here. And you can feel that little throb of a pulse kick in almost immediately. So there is definitely a dose of nicotine in there. So if you're out there chasing the nicotine, this will probably get you wherever you're looking to go. As far as the scent, it is definitely roasty more than toasty. There's a certain brininess to it. Not in the way pickles are briny. I guess kind of a sea air kind of quality to it. Not that it smells like, seawater and, coconut scented body oil. I don't mean it smells like you're going to the beach. But it has that just kind of a salty, briny quality to it. Very dark, not necessarily musty, kind of earthy, but not dirty, if that makes sense. It's called Viking Dark, and I think personally, whatever dark conjures in your mind as an aroma, it's what's in here. It smells nothing like coffee. This is not to say this is a coffee snuff, but it has certain characteristics very reminiscent of the roasted part of roasted coffee. That is probably the most ridiculous way to describe anything. It smells exactly like this, except nothing like it at all. But that's the best I got. It's very difficult with this to pin down an accurate description. You can say briny, but that conjures a very salty, almost a wetness to it, and that's not what this is. I say roasty, and that kind of conjures roasted nuts or roasted coffee, and it doesn't smell like those things either. It is earthy, it is slightly woody, and it is leathery. There's certainly a leathery component, but those words all kind of conjure the idea of a Latakia tobacco, and of course there's no Latakia in this at all. So all of the ways that I would love to describe this, they all could be very misleading, which makes it really difficult, but also makes it really wonderful. Like I said before, it's called Viking Dark. It smells dark. The aroma is dark. The experience is dark in the best way possible, as vague as that is. My best recommendation, and I highly recommend it, is you pick up some of this. And again, this is also Snuff Store Black Magic, same exact blend. There's no difference between the two. It's the same product sold under different labels. So if one's on sale or you can't find one of them, you can interchange them, and you're taking the exact same thing. Grab one more pinch of this. Ugh. It is remarkable, remarkable stuff, guys. I can't describe it, and partly I think that's because this is so good, and partly because I am so bad. But I very strongly recommend you guys pick this up. For me, I mean, obviously it's a 10 out of 10. It's probably more like an 11 or 12 out of 10, to be totally honest. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic snuff. I don't know anybody who's taken this that hasn't enjoyed it. There are people in my life that do not really use snuff. They've never purchased it. They've never used it except to try it when they're with me, and they've enjoyed it. So I think it has I think because you know, well, if you don't like cherry, you're not going to like a cherry-scented snuff. If you don't like menthol, you're not going to like medicatus. If you don't like any certain flavor component, you're not going to like that flavored snuff. There's none of this going on in here. There's nothing in this that would be great to some and off-putting to others. It's just tobacco. It's tobacco that has probably been brined, that has been dried and ground and tinned for your satisfaction. Before this turns into a love song to Viking Dark, I will sign off. I'm going to try to head outside to the deck, maybe have a pipe, and try to enjoy what's left of this spring afternoon. So that is it for me, guys. Viking Dark, 10 out of 10. Try some. You won't be disappointed. That's it. I'll see you guys around.